Shalom. First, I think of all great honor to Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai Bashim, Rakatash. The belongings of teachers that listen to us of great millstone like wise brothers, but not this truth. Faithfully, fearlessly feeding the sheep and new brothers and sisters doing me. Shalom. Today's lesson title: It Will Follow You, Eve. From Babylon to Magog. Now, I have a short clip I'm going to show you, and in this clip, you will see that there is no escape from the judgment of the Lord Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai, and especially for you women, you hardy women. Okay, now in this video, an incident takes place with this Eve that thought she could escape from her problems here in Great Babylon, America, by returning to Russia, okay, which is Magog. But she found out that she cannot escape these troubles that are going to follow because we are under those curses. Let me start off with the first scripture. This is the book of Isaiah 32, and verse 1. It says, "Behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and princes shall rule in judgment. And a man shall be as an hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a very land." Now, we know right now this is a time of great rebellion coming from, Eve, okay, the women of Zion, where, they had that spirit of, I don't need a man. But in this case here, if she had a man, she probably would not have been in this situation. Take a look at this video.
A black woman who moved from the U.S. to Russia to escape discrimination and racism revealed on social media that the entire plan backfired on her in a disturbing way. Francine Villa was born in Russia but moved to the U.S. with her family when she was a kid. In a heartbreaking video, Francine claims that both she and her baby were brutally attacked by racist neighbors in Moscow. She detailed the alleged assault on Instagram. Now, the fact that the attack occurred in her homeland is an extra painful blow. Villa had previously spoken about her move in the 2020 documentary Back in the USSR, which aired on the Russian state media channel RT. Villa said that her great-grandfather George Tynes, who hails from Virginia, worked as an agriculturalist after moving to the Soviet Union in the 1930s. Now, much of her family still lives there, but at a young age, she moved with her mother to the United States. It was there that she spent most of her life until experiencing what she described as a traumatizing experience with police. Villa explained in the documentary that she'd approached officers for help during an emergency, but that they turned on her instead, throwing her to the ground. It was then that she decided it was time to leave. That was back in 2019. Here is how she explained it. Quote, "Why did I make up my mind to move to Russia? I wanted to leave a country where I was facing discrimination. After a year living in Moscow," she told RT, quote, "I feel free living in Russia because in Russia, no matter what time it is, I can walk outside and I'm safe." 5 years later, that proved to be a fantasy. Following the alleged attack, Villa took to Instagram with blood still on her face, saying a couple in her apartment building beat her with fists while she was with her 2-year-old and yelled racial slurs at her in Russian. In edited footage shared by Villa of the incident, the couple can be seen arguing with her in the hallway of her building, threatening to throw out her belongings while she was seemingly blocked from entering her own apartment.
Вы в России давно живете?
А у вас прописка есть здесь?
Дай мне войти в мою квартиру.
Прописка есть?
Почему вы ко мне на «ты»?
Я не могу выйти и входить в свою квартиру. Напугает моего ребенка.
Кого? Он пуганный плачет, бедняжечка. Да, зайка, ты плачешь, да? Плачешь, зайка?
Now, she accuses her neighbors of changing the locks, cutting off the electricity, and even tossing her baby's stroller down the stairs. She also claims her child was left with bruises following the incident. In footage taken from a hospital, Villa can be seen weeping in distress in the aftermath of this alleged attack. She says she's filed complaints to the police, but claims they aren't helping or responding.
And as you saw in that video, she had thought that she had escaped her problems here in Great Babylon, America. The story goes back to her having a bad experience with the cops here in America. And then she decided she would return to Russia, which, according, to this story, it's her homeland. Her father worked over there, and she was born over there so she can speak the language. So she returned back there. Only, she lived, peacefully for 5 years, only to encounter okay, the curses that's upon the children of Israel. So it doesn't matter if you can speak Russian or any other language, and even if you were born there, because we were scattered over there. In fact, let's go into the book of Deuteronomy 28 and 37. It reads, "And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord Yahweh Shai shall lead thee." And what was going on in that encounter? She said that they were shouting racial slurs and all kinds of derogatory words in Russian at her. Even her child was experiencing it. She was there with her child, and you can see the spirit, okay, on those Edomites, and how they, look at her with absolute disdain, blocking her from getting inside of her apartment, and they assaulted her. The man and the woman assaulted her. I think, one-on-one, she could have held her ground against the woman, but, when you have a man and a woman that's going to work as a team and attack you, you don't really stand a chance. And also she had a baby there and they didn't care, okay? But this is part of that curse, okay, of being called by words, okay? We go into Deuteronomy 28 and 65, and it says, "And among these nations shall thou find no ease." So it doesn't matter about, you leaving here in America because you don't like the way you're treated, okay? And I'm focusing on Eve, okay, because she might think to herself, maybe I can have a better life over there. But she saw, okay, it made no difference, okay? Henceforth, you're hearing these passport brothers, going overseas, and, they want to settle in places like Thailand or Japan or these other countries, where, the women might, be a little bit more, passionate towards you because you're different, and maybe because you have those American dollars. But in reality, you will never fit in, okay? It says, "Neither shall the sole of thy feet have rest, but the Lord Yahweh shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing eyes and sorrow of mind." And you can see in this video, this woman is terrified, because here it is. She basically went from the pan, okay, which would be America, into the fire. She thought you see where it said that she said that she was feeling safe. She could walk around Russia late at night and not feel any type of terror, but yet still that terror didn't come to her on the streets of Russia. It came to her by her next door neighbor. So this is how judgment works. You cannot escape it, okay? We bring it out all the time. When you go into Isaiah 32 and starting verse 9, it says, "Rise up, ye women that are at ease, hear my voice, ye careless daughter, give ear unto my speech." The speech is coming from the prophets. Men that are low, have low status in this society. We're not rich. We don't have fame. We're not well respected. Okay, but what we do have is truth. That's what we bring to the table, is wisdom. We have the ability to guide you, okay, and we're not going to mislead you. We're not going to lead you into destruction. So we're telling you, okay, despite the fact that you might have some authority here, or there's imaginary power here in Great Babylon, America, because you're propped up, as Queen of the Heavens here in America. The fact is that this is a man's world, and at the end of the day, a man should be fighting a man, not a woman. Okay? It says, "Many days and years shall you be troubled, you careless women. For the vintage should fail, the gathering shall not come." Food shortages, how are you going to get that? You don't need a man, right? We read to you all the time in regards about your neighbors, ramshacking your house looking for food. They're going to attack you. People are looking at you right now and they're measuring you. They're measuring you. Believe it or not, they're measuring you. They're watching you carry your groceries in the house. They're watching what kind of vehicles you drive. They're watching if you're looking around. They're looking at you physically, assessing you, seeing if you someone that they could take down real easy, or do they have to bring multiple people? Okay? And so as men of the Lord, we understand this. So we're constantly, have our head on the swivel, looking, okay? Constantly looking, okay, around about us. It says, "Tremble, ye women that are at ease, be troubled, ye careless ones." A lot of women actually think they can take on men, that they can actually kick a man's ass, and yet still the videos that are showing up on TikTok, and even this video is proving that's not the case. It's not going to happen. Okay, it's not going to happen, especially in time of desperation. Okay, and a lot of time you're not going to be attacked by one, you're going to be attacked by many. But in the case of this woman, again, she probably, I'm trying to figure out why she doesn't have a man with her. She's there with a child, so obviously she has had, a relation. But where's the man? Because if a man was standing up there, I can guarantee you that daggone Russian man and woman would have taken twice of trying to lay hands on you. Okay, they would have taken twice. All right, because that would have been a whole different situation. Okay, but she was easy target. Okay, it says strip you and make you bare and gird sackcloth upon your loins. Now, again, she left America thinking that she could go into a better situation, and she's now find herself at a crossroad. What's her option now? Does she leave Russia and come back over to America, which right now this place is getting ready, it's boiling, okay, with tension because of a failing economy. You have a very wicked king that's in rulership. Okay, and right now we are at the beginning stages of the persecution of the children of Israel, or so-called blacks, Native Americans, and Latinos. Okay, there's going to be critical shortages, and it's going to get very ugly here. So we'll see what decision she makes. Okay, let's close with the book of Proverbs 16 and 18, because this is exactly what these women are. This is the way they are. Okay, it says pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Okay, so those days of being prideful and haughty, you might want to put those away. Okay, and become humble. You're not going to make it out here on your own as a woman in the times to come. Okay, now you see how that woman, she was with her man, and her man work as a team to kick Eve's ass. Okay, so I just wanted to bring this video out here. Let this be a lesson to you sisters out there. Remain humble, okay, and understand, okay, the judgments will follow you no matter where you go. Lord willing, the elect was edified. I'd like to close by giving all glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushai Ba'ashem, Rakatash, Shalom.